iPhone Shade battery replacement if your display glass is cracked. Keep further breakage contained and prevent harm during your repair by taping the glass. Lay overlapping strips of clear packing tape over the iPhone display as the hottest.
Covered. Remove the two 3.9mm Pentalobe screws from either side of lightning connector, regardless of the tool you use. You need to be sure you pull up the entire display if the glass begins to separate from the plastic, as shown in the first image. Slide a plastic hooking tool between the plastic frame and the metal phone body to pry the metal clips out of the case. Close the handle on the iSclack. Opening the suction cup jaws, place the bottom of your iPhone in between the suction cups against the plastic depth gauge. The top suction cup should rest just above the home button. Hold onto your iPhone securely and close the handle of the iSclack to separate the suction cups. Pulling the front panel up from the rear case, the iSclack is designed to open your iPhone just enough to separate the pieces, but not enough to damage the home button cable. Skip the next 3 steps and continue on step 9. If you don't have an iSclack, use a single suction cup to lift the front panel. Press a suction cup onto the screen, just above the home button. While holding the iPhone down with one hand, pull up on the suction cup to slightly separate the home button end of the front panel from the rear case, the plastic opening tool. Gently pry the edges of the rear case down, away from the front panel assembly, while you plug the suction cup. Pull the plastic nub to release the vacuum seal on the suction cup. Remove suction cup from the display assembly. Open the phone just enough to reveal the metal bracket covering the home button cable. Only the phone's original home button assembly will be capable of using ID functionality. If you use the cable, installing a new home button will only restore ordinary home button functions, not the Touch ID features. Use the tip of a spudger to push the bracket free and remove it with tweezers. Slide the top of the bracket over the Touch ID cable connector from left to right. Use the flat end of a spudger to snap the front portion of the Touch ID cable bracket down over the cable connector. Use the tip of a spudger to pry the home button cable connector up out of its socket. Once the connector has been released, pull the home button end of the assembly away from the rear case. Use the top of the phone as a hinge. Open the display to a 90th angle and lean it against something to keep it propped up while you're working on the phone. Add a band to keep the display securely in place while you work. This prevents undue strain on the display cables. Remove the two 1.6mm Phillips No. screws securing the metal battery connector bracket to the logic board. Remove the metal battery connector bracket from the iPhone. Use the flat end of a spudger to gently pry the battery connector up from its socket on the logic board. Remove the following screws securing the front panel assembly cable bracket to the logic board. 1.7mm Phillips No. 00 screw-one. 1.2mm Phillips No. 000 screw-one. 1.3mm Phillips No. 000 screw-one. More 1.7mm Phillips No. 000 screw. Remove the front panel assembly cable bracket from the logic board. Use the flat end of a spudger to disconnect the front-facing camera and sensor cable, while still supporting the panel. Disconnect the LCD cable connector. Finally, disconnect the digitizer cable connector assembly. Run the tip of a spudger between the battery and the headphone jack to fill the battery adhesive tab. Pull the battery adhesive tab away from the phone. Cut the black battery adhesive tab between two adhesive strips, separating them. Slowly pull the battery adhesive strips away from the battery toward the iPhone. Pull steadily, maintaining constant tension on the strip as it slips up from between the battery and the rear case. For best results, pull the strip at a 60th angle or less. Guide the strip carefully around the corner and up the side of the battery. Be careful not to snag it on any of the other internal components. Repeat for the second strip. If you removed both strips successfully, skip the next two steps. If any of the adhesive strips broke off, the battery remains stuck to the rear case. Prepare an iOpener or use a hairdryer to heat the rear case directly behind the battery. Flip the iPhone back over and insert a plastic card between the case side of the battery and the rear case.
A vast
Press
database
the card
has
in
been
further
updated.
to break up the adhesive behind the battery. Thread the floss string behind the upper battery corners. Bring the ends together, wrap them around a folded cloth, and pull evenly. Pull the battery out of the rear case.